Kid's worked up quite a thirst by now, so that fountain looks real inviting. Sometimes you just need a drink. A school of squirts tunnels up around them. Must have fled here from the mines. He sets foot inside one of Zealandia's famous watering holes. Inside's old Rondi, the bartender. The calamity got him before his drinking did. Rondi always wanted his ashes scattered here. Then Kid finds his trusty shield. But just as he's getting a handle on it, the security takes him for a petty thief. Clang. Shield saves his hide. Windbags start turning up for last call. More squirts start coming out of the woodwork. Big old fella pops out in front of the kid. Kid sees the way to the Bastion out the window. It's a bit of a drop. He gets a good look at things on his way down. He lands on top of a breaker's bow, and it ain't broke. Wasn't long before the kid could loose an arrow, strong and true. Kid spies a good perch for some target practice. He knows he should draw the string all the way back. Good news is the emergency defenses still work. Bad news is they're aiming for the kid. Picks up a few pointers from a dusty old tome. He's a mighty fast learner. He finds the distillery, right next to the arsenal. Tough part of town. One sip of the spirits in that distillery, and the kid'll feel like a new man. the arsenal's where the kid can pick the best tools for the job. Some of them squirts birthing like crazy in a couple of corn bins. Ferry barge sends the kid on his way. The Bastion's real close now. Right back at you. Tonic. Kid takes a chunk of alloy. Smell of barley and spoiled blueberries fills the air. Scumbags. Kid maybe shouldn't have done what he just did. Robs a scumbag of his last meal. Kid puts him out of his misery. He finds the core to the wharf district. He steals the city's heart. Might as well. Kid has a feeling he better get a move on. The place is starting to fall. Kid just keeps running. Well, down he goes. Down toward the Bastion. Now the kid sees something stranger still. His mind races. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds another. He finds me. We talk for a spell. There's a bit of the Bastion's power in that crest, enough to point the way to the cores. All I tell him is to set that core of his on the monument there, then watch. just like that, the Bastion comes alive. Starts growing again, growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. The Bastion ain't gonna build itself. Well, not entirely. Ain't always much to say. Kid ponders what to build. The Bastion's a place of peace, but we can hold our own if we have to. Ain't much Kid can't handle with hammer and bow in hand. Kid don't know what's out there waiting for him. The Skyway. Now the Kid can ride the wind to distant lands. The Breakers used to come here for target practice. Used to play a little game. See who could bust the most targets and the fewest shots. He's focused, he's armed, and he's off. Kid ain't had enough of the Breakers' barracks. Takes practice, and a mighty strong bow helps too. Kid ain't done bad at all. On the right solid performance. He returns with some of the materials we need. Now he lands at the intersection between bad and wrong. Ought to be a core down one of these twisted streets, but which one? No white gas fellas all dress alike. Kids wondering the same thing. And there it is, but it's locked down tight in an alloy cage. A blustery old foreman's keeping his fellas in check, almost like he's showboating for the crowd. And now there's a new marshal in town. He hears the whole place groan, but it's too tough to fall. Might as well check the other side streets before leaving this hole. He heads for the east side, where windbags used to keep the local forge. They ain't pleased. No coal or alloy left to pay for their efforts. Inside the forge, Key can fine-tune those instruments of his. With a good length of meat gut, that bow's like new again. Odd place to find the likes of Percy the Snitch. Never much cared for that big wide grin of his. He heads for the squirt steps. Won't be no field trip this time. Kid ain't ever seen an elephant squirt before. They say even the most rambunctious squirts can be tamed. Squirts don't make the best of friends, but they can be useful in a pinch. Scumbag can digest just about anything. Except for this. It's quick for slicing and light enough to throw. Them squirts just don't know when to quit. He heads for the biggest dump in town. Scumbag Alley. Some scumbag still feeding off the city's own trash. And there he is. The oldest scumbag of them all. Gershel. Shame old Gershel can't float like when he was a young fella. Kid's ready to go, and his ticket out's right where he started. He comes back, just like I knew he would. The core hums in his pack. The monument's calling for it. Kid does it again. Only fair he decides what we build next. The windbags used to be alright. Then the calamity took the floor out from under him. A lot of things need fixing up in this world, and we can start right here. Kid's lifelong friends looking fit to keep on fighting. The repeater and machete, favorite choices of the Ura hunters we once fought. Picked up traces of other cores while the kid was out. In better days, the melting pot was sealed tighter than the skin on a squirt. Of all the plans to survive the calamity, it had to be stab weeds. Blasted things hurt like a broken heart. If there's a core, he figures it ought to be deeper down. Core's stuck inside one of those fancy cages. Some of the stuff lying around is downright dangerous. He throws a switch. Now what could possibly go wrong? Quite a bit, as it turns out. The cage starts lifting from the core ever so slow. All Kid can do is wait. Shipments start falling in. Not every squirt's born bad. Some spring to the kid's defense. Judging by the movement of the cage, it's gonna take a little while. Scumbags don't take kindly to interlopers. Even some gas fellas take his corner. Heard he popped that mean old foreman. At this rate, maybe 5 more minutes, maybe 30. Hard to tell. get real territorial around the core. Then a shipment of free samples shows up. It ain't all bad, as the kid finds some spices from the motherland, tax-free. One thing's for sure, that cage is awful heavy. Troublesome scene, to be sure. A few moments left, and the core goes free. 10, 9, 8, 7. You give or take a few seconds. Finally, the core's within reach. And done. He's got it. Just gotta get to the nearest barge. I still remember the look on his face after that one. The old world's finished, but the new world's just getting started. Makes time to sample spirits from my personal supply. Cinder brick stout sure goes down smooth, then stays in your gut like a rock. Turns out those old bones still have some spark in them. Folks voyaged across the boundless sea to found Ceylondia. It was good living here for a while. Windbag Ranch was built for gathering squirt extract in copious supply. Ain't nothing more healthful. Some folks showed up to make a fast buck with nothing but a knife. Slippery little devils. Other folks came to train their throwing arms. Still others use the place to test their finest blades. Always time for juice and squirts, they used to say. At least the little fellas can't feel a thing. Some squirts tried to flee on instinct. Best to put them away first, before they rile up the others. Kid cuts all of them down soon enough. The ranch was always looking for good help. Kid carves through all of them in a flash. Well, the kid's gone and struck terror in the hearts of squirts everywhere. A bow and a machete, every bit as effective as the fancier stuff. The little Zolwood oil on that blade shines like a light. Couples used to walk the sundown path. Kid ain't here for pleasure, though. But then, somebody gets to the core before the kid. Floor starts giving way under the lightest step. A single panic squirt could bring the whole place down. Fragments of the old world rain from the sky. Well, the path ain't exactly open to visitors no more. See, the path was intended for leisurely strolling and such. Sky bridges link the path together. One of them bridges whips the kid along. Air travel always was an iffy proposition. But Calamity changed everything, even where the wind blows. Well, if we mastered the winds in the old days, we can do it again. But the question is, who else could have taken the core? Well, ain't no survivor stole the thing. Scumbag ate it by mistake. Tough break. Unlike the kid, that core ain't coming back. No, they used to ship live munitions down the path. Find time to find them. These wires to toss those things plenty far away. Even gas fellas need some shut-eye from time to time. They get real cranky when you wake them up. In all this toil, Kid keeps coming back to an overwhelming question. Who else could have survived the calamity? So he didn't find the core that time, but that ain't about to stop us. The dead welcome him with open arms. The calamity took everybody after all. Kid sees it plain, frozen faces all around. You don't much care to see him. Not like this. These folks never saw the calamity coming, but someone did. Someone close. It was someone like him. Kid sees him there agape, in the flesh. It's a snag or two trying to get to him. He ain't about to stop, no matter what. He's got so many questions after all. just ain't got time for answers. The Thunder brothers didn't make it. They never saw what it was like beyond the walls. Nor did the Bird Boy. Didn't make it. The Jawsons, they didn't make it. Grady Sr., Grady Jr., they didn't make it. But him, he survived. Kid finds proof enough that man ain't from around here. Just think, without that man, we wouldn't be here right now, would we? The core survives as well. Kid does what he has to do. What do you say to a man who's seen too much? Kid hasn't a clue, but he says this. We have to go. Please. He's a proper gentleman, that man. His name is Zulf. No hiding he's an Ura. Folks like him ain't never been a common sight in Caelondia. He's relieved to see a living face or two. The kid and I introduce ourselves in kind. Both to him and to each other for the first time. For Zulf, Caelondia was like a second home. He's real worried about his first home too, far to the east. He was born in the Tazzle terminals. The Ura sent him on a mission of peace to our city, and he's lived here ever since. We fought the Ura decades ago, but that was then. Things are different between us now. Kid ain't finished here yet. The cores, they remember. That's why this place is coming together. That's why things are gonna be alright. Well, look what we have here. The lost and found. Here, Kid takes fragments of the old world and makes them whole again. All it takes is some fragments, and the Bastion makes it good as new. That ought to make those fangs sink in nice and deep. We tracked down a couple more cores near the edge of the city. There's only one way in the Cinder Brick Fort. The hard way. Sure, the city marshals may be gone, but now the fort's crawling with windbags. The us mercy, young folks. The windbags ain't so lucky. They've been left to freeze or starve or face the kid. Well, windbags young and old keep fighting for the fort. Good thing the windbags don't know kids fresh out of health tonics. At least the marshals left the kid a parting gift. Something the windbags just can't handle. Something that'll punch clean through their greasy hides. Windbags ain't much different from normal folks. All they want's a warm place to stay and a decent meal. The calamity drove the windbags topside. A lot of them wound up here in this very fort. Business underground like in the old days. Windbags can't use the marshal supplies, but the kid sure can. He stashes the marshal's prize, goes back to something more his style. Well, the fort ain't theirs by right. Can't blame him for wanting it, though. Not a scratch on him as he presses on to higher ground. Security's plane gone haywire. Windbags gummed up the works. Kid ain't afraid of getting burned. They trapped the kid in the middle of the fort's parade grounds. Bruce and Glandon, all their scumbag uncles. They got something to gain, and only their sorry hides to lose. Kid takes down Glutus. Maybe it was Glandon. The other big fella soon joins his brother, wherever they are now. Windbags finally get the message. Kid used to dream of getting a marshal's badge, but not like this. The Skyway's a welcome sight after all that. And now ain't nothing left for nobody down at Cinderbrick Fort. Kid shows up just as Zulf's telling me about his own journey to the city. Seems the only thing the Calamity saved for Zulf was a smoking pipe. The marshals seem like good men, he says. They treated him with dignity. Zulf brought his antique smoking pipe all the way from the terminals. Even since the Ura surrendered to us, the marshals kept a wary eye on him. Zulf's travels ain't much compared to what the kids had to go through for all this. The memorial. Here a kid can pay respect to the old world and earn it in kind. The valediction. Just another one of my sketches. Nothing more. Words can't express what happened, but they're all I got. War machetes are so quick, you gotta keep a good grip on them. Poor kid collapses after just one drag. The past. Only good thing ever come out of the past is history. Catches up with the kid. Hardly had a moment's rest since all this started. to say he's led a hard life, supposing what he says in his sleep ain't no lie. He never knew his old man, but he had his mama to take care of. Frail thing with pure white hair like his. Having his mama's hair did the kid no favors while he was growing up, but he learned to hold his own out there. School ain't working out, so the kid signs up for a turn on the rippling walls. Make his mama some money. Thanks to folks like the kid, the walls kept Zealandia safe from whatever's out there. The elements, the Ura, you name it. Once the kid done his time, he hurried on home. Turns out his mama's time was done too. The city had nothing for him. The money he'd been sending home was nowhere to be found either. So what'd the kid do? Why, he went right on back to the walls for another 5 years. In the history of Zealandia, nobody's ever volunteered for a second shift on the walls. Out there, kid learned to fend for himself, learn to build, learn to break. In time, the kid earned good standing with the marshals. They trusted him to scout out farther than anybody. One night, on one of his expeditions, the ground beneath him shuddered, cracked, and split apart. He saw nothing where the world used to be. The calamity happened just like that.